in real life, the CV is, the window to get in the company. So I'm not saying to spend too much time developing your CV, but just put a little effort and include the things that are recent and things that you worked on.
Hello and welcome guys to yet another video of Q&A over coffee, which means we are drinking some coffee and we talk about a special topic with a special guest, or a different new guest you could say. And today's topic is top 5 mistakes people usually make when they are getting hired, when they try to get a job.
So you can call me Ollie. So I've been doing HR for the past 14 years.
Oh, that's a lot.
Exactly. Still more coming. And working with different companies, working with different industries, I think will be really good to help people in IT to better understand what things they should avoid or what things they should be more prepared.
So we're here to talk about all that stuff. I'm sure this will interest a lot of you guys. So yeah, let's jump into the topic.
Mistake number 1.
Yeah.
Candidates who are actually not making any search about the company that they're applying for. So they're coming for an interview not knowing what company they're coming and what the company is doing.
Okay, so you mean beginners, people who are trying to get their first job, or people in general?
In general, all candidates in IT.
Because as far as I know, once you got a job in IT, you progress, you start getting offers or receiving offers.
Right, being hand-hunted.
Yeah. And in that case, you don't really need to make that much of research of the company. I mean, you can ask some questions to have an idea of what product you're going to work with and stuff like that, but you don't really care about the company that much. I mean, in the beginning, yes, you do, because that's your place, your first growing place and all that stuff. Yeah. But as you progress, you don't care that much because you're just working for somebody, you know?
Oh, wow. I will actually argue that with you.
Okay.
I will argue that with you because candidates who are beginners, they don't care much about the company that they're applying
for. Don't they? I think they do.
Beginners, they will care less because they want to gain more experience.
No, I don't think so. At the moment, I wouldn't care that much for what company I would work. It's Google, it's Amazon, it's whatever. I don't care that much. It's not my business. You know, I'm just getting paid for what I'm doing.
Wow, you'll be surprised because all candidates that we've been...
So you're saying mistake number 1 is people don't make any kind of research about the company.
Exactly. So just learn a bit knowing what market they're working for.
I usually ask very simple questions in the beginning. Things like if they are product/outsource, if they are having a constant income, what's their source of income, how many clients they have, and all that stuff. I do ask those questions, but that doesn't mean I make a lot of research about the company. I may look up their website and stuff, and
that's totally fine.
Okay, I'm done. You know,
that will be enough. But just make sure you know the company name that you're going to interview with. Know if it's a product or a service company. What's the market they are targeting? What kind of product do they have if it's a product company? What kind of services do they have?
What kind of product they have, I'd probably not waste my time doing research. I'd like to know what's under the hood. That's why I won't waste time on doing the research, because that probably won't be online. I'll have to ask the engineers, how do you guys organize this and that? And I don't care about the marketing side of things, because usually marketing is not always true. I don't know. I don't think like paying attention is just a plus. It's not something which is required in my opinion.
Oh, for sure, it's a plus. It's a plus.
Yeah, like it's okay to know, but if you don't know, nobody's gonna, disconsider you at the selection process.
For sure not. But it just this is all gonna give you, let's say, more advantages compared to other candidates.
What kind of advantages?
Advantages that you actually know a bit more than others.
Yeah. Okay, so guys, mistakes number 1 is do your research before you apply or before you're trying to get a job, because that might, although I don't agree completely, that might give you a slight advantage when it comes to getting a job and getting hired.
The second mistake I think people make is scheduling an interview and not showing up at the interview. So not even bothering to call the employer or recruiter to say, I'm sorry, but I cannot make it. So
did you have like cases very often when people are just not showing up, or
in IT especially? So
I know what I know is people, especially HR people, text you on LinkedIn and you don't even answer. That's what I know, but not showing up, it's like rude, I don't know.
I'll give you example very clear. I've been looking lately for Java developers. For the past 2 weeks, we've been having interview just a phone screen, then sending them with the hiring manager. When they have on-site interview for the day to test their skills, they're just not even bothering to call and to say, I'm sorry, but I cannot make it, or I'm feeling sick. So what do? Employer calls us and asks, hey, Ollie, where is the candidate? And I'm like, okay, let me check with the candidate. So when I'm calling the candidate, he's saying, I'm sorry, I was feeling sick. But it's not that the point. I mean, we all get sick. It all happens. But just call and just give a call and send a message.
Usually employers, not so much employers, but HR people are like freaking you out before the interview. They're calling you, making sure you're there, and all that stuff.
Yes.
And I'm like, why do you guys call me like so much? I'll show up.
But do you understand why they're calling so much?
Because I don't. I do now.
So now I'm telling you, exactly.
I don't, because I'm like, man, if you did say you're showing up, you probably should, like you have a calendar meeting and all that stuff. I might want to consider in the future not showing up.
Don't do this, please don't do this. Another mistake is candidates not including in their resume their projects, like more information about their projects or what employer they worked with. So many of them just show one employer, but actually they're working in different companies or different projects or outsourcing or freelancing. So
I myself am a victim of that, you could say, because I don't like CVs. I don't like making them, especially updating them, because when you switch jobs, you're like, oh, I have to update my CV. I have to include this and that. And speaking of employers, I also don't like to... I like to have my CV in one page. I don't like it long, like 3-4 pages as people do it. And because of that, I try to be short. And if you're trying to be short, you can't really include like every project. And projects relevancy changes over time, because as you evolve, one project may not be cool to include it in the CV after 1 year. And my opinion about it is, when you're having the technical conversation, people don't even look in the CV.
You're right.
They're gonna ask you technical questions anyways.
You'll be surprised when it comes to CV. You don't have to have 3 pages or 4 pages. Even HR or recruiter hates to read a 3 pages CV. So make the life easier of employer or even your life. Just having 1 page is totally fine.
On the other hand, when it comes to CVs, I've had like many cases, especially in the beginning when I applied for companies and I wasn't even given a chance. I got rejected at the applying thing. It probably doesn't look the way we expect it to look, which is a bummer, which is something which I don't like, which I think, I don't know, it's filtering out a lot of good people.
In real life, the CV is, the window to get in the company. So I'm not saying to spend too much time developing your CV, but just put a little effort and include the things that are recent and things that you worked on. We have candidates in our experience that they come and they don't have a good CV, so we try to help them update their CV, let's say when they're in the interviewing process, and sending to the employer a CV that they require. Another mistake is talking about the salary. So when is a good time to talk about salary?
What do you mean talking about salaries?
Talking about salaries is a lot of people don't know when is a good time to talk about salaries.
But they're usually asked, how much would you like and stuff?
But the last phase is negotiating. So we get a lot of mistakes with our candidates when at the beginning they say one salary, which is within the budget, and at the end, the negotiation process, they actually are asking different salary.
As far as I would like to have it is, they would ask me in the beginning, I'd tell them this is my price, and I don't care how I do at the technical interview. It's up to the technical guys to say, this guy deserves this much, or he doesn't deserve this much, or he's not even a fit for us, Well, this is psychologically, of course. What I see employers do is they would ask people at the end so that they can get shredded a little bit in the technical process, so that they can say, you know what, I don't think I deserve this much, and I can maybe lower it.
It's well known, a lot of IT people, they're more introverted. So during the interview process, another mistake is not talking much about themselves, like what they know, what experience do they have.
I used to think that's not important for people in the industry, because they don't care, you're just here to do the job. But as I progressed, I understood that what makes a person write even better code is also a person with personality, a person who has a taste, who has, I don't know, some hobbies, something they like. And I always used to get like a little bit shocked, a little bit, you could say, surprised when like big CEOs used to ask me, like, you have the technical interview, and at the end of it, you have an interview with some CTO or CEO. And they were like, how are you doing? What's your hobbies? They were asking questions which I thought was stupid, because, I mean, why would you ask me these questions now that I passed for all this technical interview? And then I realized it's very important to also hire people with personality, because these are likely people who will contribute not only in the way they know how to do it technically.
Well, think about with whom you want to work for the next, let's say, 1 year or 2 years. I'm not saying 5 years, because it's too long term, and now with this period of time, like, you cannot actually think about it. But think about, do I want to be in a team with this guy or girl, whoever is applying for? Or if you cannot talk much about things, you don't have things in common, will be very difficult to collaborate.
And also, speaking of who do you see yourself working with, there's also this question which bothers me in the interviews, and HR people also ask this question.
Yeah.
And it is, where do you see yourself in X amount of years?
Well, not in a 5 years or 3 years.
There are even people who ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where or what do you see yourself doing in the next 5 years? They're expecting you to give them an answer like, oh, I see myself in the next 5 years working for, you know, for this amazing company I'm trying to get a job for, and, you know, maybe you would like this answer.
It's a very tricky question.
It's a tricky question, and lately I don't even care about this question. I answer it honestly. I see myself an independent guy who's gonna do whatever he likes, and I am not loyal to anybody, you know?
Oh, wow.
And they're like, you know what? We're looking for somebody who's going to be there for a
at least
stable period and stuff.
Yes,
Can you guarantee that? What's a mistake or a couple of mistakes employers make which makes them lose trust in employees, which makes them lose developers or people who are talented? What do you think are a couple of mistakes they should pay attention at?
Developing their staff. So a lot of times when developers work, let's say with the senior developers, they're complaining that even at the beginning of the process, they promised something and those conditions they didn't keep. At the end of the process, they are still at the same level, so they didn't grow, and developer will gonna feel, they all say that, hey, this company did not invest in me, so I'm gonna look for another company who actually develops me.
People are not only expecting, like, you know, a salary and stuff, they're also expecting, at least when I try and get a job, I also expect I will enter an environment of people who are different, people I might steal things from. I mean,
in a good way, in an ethical way.
I might want to grow from, and if you're, you know, not getting all that, it might not be challenging, and you might not even stay there. For me personally, it's way easier to raise your salary by just leaving the company instead of trying to negotiate. If you don't negotiate your salary correctly in the beginning, chances are it's easier for you to just leave.
Very true. This applies not only for IT candidates. This applies actually in all industries. A good candidate, if he wants to increase his salary and worth on the market, will be good to stay in a company and change the industry, change the size of the company market, and this is how your value increase. And then you'll be more worth it compared to you stay in the same company, let's say for many decades. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying to developers to just stay, let's say 6 months or 1 year in the company and then leave. What I'm trying to suggest is
also you have to have some sort of clean history,
exactly.
You know, like, because when you like submit your CV, people are gonna say, oh, you've been here 1 month, you've been there 2 months, you're not a serious guy for us, you know?
That's actually another mistake that a lot of candidates they do. So if you see the terms just 3 months or 6 months, as an HR person or as an employer, you're worried about hiring this guy.
Yeah, you might
be serious about that?
Not, you know, gonna stay for long here too.
It's true.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was pretty much it on this episode of Q&A over coffee. Hope you guys have found out a couple of mistakes which we as developers make, which employers make. And you could, you know, take some value out of this. If you're finding value out of this video, by the way, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you aren't part of this community. And also make sure to follow Ollie. I'll link everything in the video description. And I guess this wraps it up for this episode. I'll see you in the next video. I'll see you in another episode of Q&A over coffee. Peace.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, what do you think is another mistake people usually make when they're trying to get hired? You wasn't ready. Okay, let me do it from the beginning. Don't look at me. No, sorry, kidding.
Am I intimidating you?
No, just a little bit. We're good to begin. Да, смотрим еще. Ну, тут разве... Да, ну, not that close.